The following is a presentation of the Mat Talk Podcast Network.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pac wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Reinhardt.
Hey, NC State wrestling fans, welcome to a brand new episode of the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. I'm your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Reinhardt. And this is a little bit of a different episode. Times have changed here at NC State. The university has been closed for about 2 weeks. Our wrestlers are now doing classes online, and of course, no athletics going on. But we wanted to continue to put out some podcasts, let you guys know what some of the team has been up to, what Coach Pat's been up to, just how everybody's been dealing with the situation. So in this episode of the podcast, we have a little bit of a hodgepodge, maybe a potpourri. We have 4 different interviews coming up. No in-live person guests, so we're going to be recording all of these over on Zoom, which has been very helpful to all of us during this time and catching up with everybody. But on this episode of the podcast, we're going to talk with 2020 ACC Wrestler of the Year, Hayden Hidlay. We're also going to be catching up with 2020 ACC Freshman of the Year, Trent Hidlay. And of course, it was a Wolfpack sweep this year of all the ACC awards. And we're going to catch up with 2020 ACC Coach of the Year, Pat Popolizio. With those 3, we caught up, talked about what each of the award meant to them, a little bit about how their season, and of course, just how they're dealing with the current situation, how they're dealing with online classes, just being away from their teammates and unable to go in the mat room right now. Our final interview, we actually caught up with Nick Gwiazdowski as well, the former NC State wrestling national champion. He was actually supposed to be up in Penn State this week and competing at the Olympic trials, but those were postponed. And then we found out the 2020 Summer Olympics have now changed into the 2021 Summer Olympics. So we caught up with Nick about how he's been dealing with that situation and just how he's going to progress here and get back and ready to compete in the trials, which will be held now in 2021. We did record all these on Zoom, so I have to say, apologize for some of the audio. It's not as crisp as we usually have here on the podcast, but thought it's important to keep you guys updated with what's going on with the NC State wrestling team. And so I hope you enjoy this episode with the 4 interviews. So stay tuned for all of our interviews on the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. All right, Wolfpack wrestling fans, we're now joined by Hayden Hidlay. Hayden, where are you coming from today?
I'm in my room here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm not sure if you can see in the background, but I've got all my Eagles flags hanging up and some of my laundry drying out. So a little interesting time here.
All right. Wanted to catch up with you. It's been a couple of weeks. How has life been? How has it gone since the NCAAs were canceled for you?
It's been wild. I think it's been challenging at times, and I think just getting out of your groove is one thing that I've always struggled with. I think just not having your same support system, being able to go into the training facility every day, and maybe not even if it's working out, but just kind of being around those same guys and the same coaches. I think it's really helpful for us to have that throughout the year. And now that it's all kind of gone, it's a little bit I don't know, that is probably the worst part about it all, just not being able to see everybody on a consistent basis, not having a consistent training schedule, I think is something very hard for us that we're dealing with. But I mean, in grand scheme of things, this would be time kind of for our rest and recovery to happen. So I'm trying to keep that in mind. But I mean, it still feels like there wasn't enough closure for us to be rewarded a rest and recovery period. So I'm still kind of dealing with that as well.
How have you adapted? Campus is closed. Cafeterias are closed. Weight rooms closed. What are you guys doing?
Well, I mean, some of us are getting together and kind of doing some just like regular body weight workouts. I mean, it's hard right now. There's not really any consistent gyms you can go to. Or back whenever I was home, I kind of had a couple weights and in a bar and I don't know, squat rack that we could use, but it wasn't, anything that we're used to. Right now we're just trying to listen to what everybody's telling us and trying to stay safe. But I mean, a couple of us, we've all been wrestling with each other for the past 2 months or so. So I don't think we're too much worry passing it around to each other. So we've a couple of us have gotten together and maybe just done some like running workouts or just body weight, just doing a lot of like getting back to the basics of doing pull-ups, push-ups. And I don't know, it's been a hard process, but we've had to been pretty creative in trying to come up with workouts.
Going over to the academic side, classes are online right now. You were on schedule to earn your undergrad degree in May and then transition to grad school here at NC State. Is that still the plan? Are you still able to accomplish the undergrad degree?
Yeah, I'll graduate in May. I think with it's different. I'm taking online classes. It's not as heavy as a workload now, I feel like. The teachers are all kind of scrambling around and trying to change the courses so that it kind of accommodates us. And, it's sad that I don't get to kind of finish it out in the classroom setting because I had I had some really cool classes that we were taking together. And I think the classes are a little bit watered down now. But I'll still get my degree in May. I'm looking at a couple options to do for next year, but I would like to get into grad school. And maybe if it's just a 1-year certificate, that's something that's kind of intriguing to me right now. But I'll definitely be back for my 5th year, and I'm really looking forward to it. And what I'm going to be studying yet, I'm not quite sure, but I'll still be back, and that's all that matters.
Well, the real reason I want to catch up with you, a big announcement. You are named the 2020 ACC Wrestler of the Year.
Wow.
Now, NC State's won the 5 of the last 7. Gwiz, Mock, they won it. Now you see these guys every day, but real feeling for you, what is it like to have your name along with those guys right now?
It makes me really proud. I think even though this season didn't end in the circumstances I would have liked, and it's still, this award means a lot to me because it's an accumulation of a lot of things. I had a really great year this year. I had one blemish, but I was really starting to click at the right time and felt like I would have had a great tournament come NCAAs. But I don't know, to get rewarded it means a lot. I think I'm up there with very hallowed names among our program. And that's all I really wanted to do, was be able to do some of the things that the people have done before me and kind of keep trailblazing and accomplish new things. So it's really cool to be a part of that with Nick and Mock especially. It's kind of an NC State fraternity that you want to join. You want to join the national championship legacy. And being ACC Wrestler of the Year is really cool just because of how great this conference was as a whole this year. I think since I've been here, this is the most competitive it's ever been. There's a lot of great wrestlers here as well. So, it's really cool to lead the pack in that way.
Hayden, congratulations. We're going to be checking in with you. Try to stay busy. I know you guys, wrestlers, they don't take any time off. So I know you'll keep yourself busy and get that education going too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Brian.
All right. Now joined by Trent Hidlay. Trent, just talked to Hayden. I want to ask you the same thing. What have you been up to the last couple of weeks here?
Yeah, it's been an interesting few weeks since we found out two Thursdays ago, I think, that the NCAA tournament was going to happen. We Hayden and I went home for a weekend and tried to relax a little bit and just I guess recover. It was a long season. We trained really hard, so it definitely wasn't the storybook ending we were looking for. But I think at that point we were ready to regroup and reflect a little bit on the season and how we did as individuals and our team did. So it was a time of reflecting, a time of recovering, and I think now we're ready to move on. We came back to Raleigh. Unfortunately, all of the facilities are closed and we can't get in the lift or run or work out. But we've been getting pretty creative, I think. Some of the guys on the team that are here, we've been getting together and doing some, either body weight workouts or using some stuff they have in their garage. So it's definitely been interesting. We've had to get creative, but we're always working. We're trying to stay in shape and get ready for the next thing.
And you said reflect on the season. I know, obviously, NCAAs is where you guys want to end the season, but this team did win an ACC championship. Reflect on that. This was your first year in the lineup, back-to-back ACC championships. How would you assess your season?
Yeah, I think it was a very special season for the team. I think in years down the road, people are going to look back and know how special this year was. I think we accomplished a lot of good things, and I think we were coming together at the right time. For me individually, I think it was a pretty solid season. I think the two words I can think of describe it is discipline and consistency. I thought I was pretty consistent throughout the season. I was ready to peak at the right time. That didn't get to happen, but I think I learned a lot about myself and a lot about the NCAA wrestling landscape being in my first year in the lineup. So I think it's going to help me a lot going into next year. And I know what I need to work on. I have a long time to fix those things and get ready to accomplish my goals next year. So I think for me, mindset going into this off season is just focus on the things that I did wrong and look at the matches that I lost and make sure I learn those lessons and improve for next season.
How tough it was for you. You redshirted last year. This was going to be your first NCAA championship. You're the number 5 seed, obviously high expectations. How hard did it hit you?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I think one of the most emotional states I've ever been in, I think. And Hayden said it best. I think when the coaches and our AD Buchord and broke it to us, Hayden said it was probably the most vulnerable we've been as a team, and I think that's it. It's a testament to how much we put into it, and how good we were feeling going into the tournament, how excited we were to prove ourselves. And it stinks. It stung really bad, and it still stings. But I think dwelling on it's not going to do much. I think it's time to move on, and I think that's what makes this team good is that we're able to adapt and we're able to look at the adversity in the face and move on from it. So that's what I'm focused on right now. It's really bummed, it bummed me out a lot, but like I said, if I dwell on it, then that's time I'm not going to get put into my training for next year. So I'm trying to move on for it, and I'm definitely going to be excited for next year.
Redshirt freshman, so you've been on campus a couple of years, but now classes are a lot different online. You just said you have a Zoom meeting with one of your classes. How has the adjustment been to school here?
Yeah, it's been a little weird. Luckily, I think I'm in a little bit of advantage because I've taken 1 or 2 online classes each semester in the last 3 semesters. So I have a pretty good feel of, what you need to do to get that work done, but it's definitely different. I would much rather prefer being in a classroom setting. I think I learn better that way, and I like the structure of it a little bit more. But everybody's going through the same thing. Teachers are going through the same thing, and I know they're doing their best they can. And we've gotten a lot of support from our coaches, the academic staff, the athletic director. Everybody on staff at NC State's helping us out a lot. And it just comes down to being disciplined and making sure you're getting your work done. But it's definitely an adjustment. Like I said, I'd much rather be in class, but if this is what we got to do, it's what we got to do.
Trent, the real reason I wanted to call you today and get this, you are the 2020 ACC Rookie of the Year.
All
Congratulations.
Right.
The award was started giving out 2005. NC State's won 4 times. Kevin Jack was the last one, but now you get that title by your name. How proud are you of that individual accomplishment?
Oh, it's awesome. It was actually pretty surprising. I didn't think they gave it to redshirt freshmen. So
it changed this year, and I'm taking full credit for it. But
all right. Well, thank you, Brian. That's awesome. I think that means a lot to me, and I think it's it proves what this staff can do with young wrestlers. I think you've looked in the last recent years of our success. I think it's because we have young guys step up to the plate. Hayden did it when he was a freshman. Tariq. And then Kevin come bursting onto the scene. I think it's important for a team to have young success, and I think that'll carry into my next few years too. So it's an awesome award, especially with how good the ACC was this year. A lot of good guys in my class and a lot of good true freshmen as well. So it means a lot to me, and hopefully I can beat Hayden now for the ACC Wrestler of the Year next year.
Well, your brother won the ACC Wrestler of the Award this year, so might be some competition next year.
Maybe that's what I'm going for.
Trent, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you can get everything squared away and just, enjoy your time here in Raleigh now that you have a little more downtime.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.
All right, we're going over ACC Awards. We did Hayden Hidlay as the ACC Wrestler of the Year, Trent Hidlay, ACC Freshman of the Year, and it's a Wolfpack sweep this year. But, I was going to tell the other gentleman here that won the award, but I'm not sure where he is. Mr. Popolizio, I was supposed to talk with Patrick today. Can you put him on?
Yeah. You might not be able to find him with the scruff going, but he's here.
I tell you, unrecognizable. You've been, what's going on? I know you moved. You lose that razor?
Yeah, I'm growing this thing out until we are allowed to start training again with the team. So it might be a little while. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going, I think, 10 days straight right now.
Okay, not bad. But congratulations.
That's my way.
I was going to say, all joking aside, congratulations. 2020 ACC Coach of the Year. Second time in the last 3 years. Congratulations on the award.
Appreciate it. It's one of those where I think these awards obviously go to more of a unit, a team, a staff, the athletes. So that's my vision of these kind of awards at the end of the year. I think it's a reflection of everybody that operates within our organization. So they're nice to get, but at the end of the day, it's the people backing you that really help put these things in perspective.
I was going to say the awards have names to them, but just like you said, it's really the Coach of the Year is a team award. You guys accomplished a lot this year. Have you gotten a chance to kind of just enjoy it?
It's been eerie. No, I don't think we really have. And that was because we were turned around, focused right in the NCAAs. And then, with the situation that occurred, we really didn't get to enjoy and celebrate any kind of end of the year success. So I think at the right time in the right place, we'll focus in on that. But right now it's just kind of going day to day to whatever the leadership's telling us we need to do and paying attention and just following directions right now.
You joked the only thing you're doing these days is growing the beard out. So what is a head coach doing at this time? I think right now everybody's buying stock in Zoom because of the amount of use that we're getting out of these video and meetings. But no, we meet a lot as a staff. We communicate daily with our team, having different groups talk, and it's a good time to reflect, read, sharpen up on other skills that we got to get better at. But I think this is obviously not the right setting, but I think this is a good time to kind of really focus and analyze and understand what's important and what's not. So the last week or so has been a good time to do some self-reflecting and things that we can get better at. And I think it puts a lot of things in perspective of what's actually important. And, I think things will always be different after this. I think there's going to be some changes and just people will appreciate the things that they have in front of them and how fortunate we are with the training and people supporting us. So I think this is the time that we can really do that. I know a lot of your guys are still here on campus, so you're being able to do Zooms and meet with them. What about your signees? Have you had much communication with them? I know there's a lot of questions for those guys that are going to be new here and ideally during summer school.
Yeah, we communicate. Basically, someone on our staff is daily communicating with either a student athlete here or a group that's committed to coming here. And it's hard to give them answers right now as what the summer is going to look like. We can keep planning ahead as this is a date that we can do A, B, and C, but until we know and get the green light, it's going to be hard to make any concrete decisions. So we just plan, and if we have to adjust and adapt, we're going to continue to do that. And I think, our sport has taught us to be kind of on the deal with adversity on the go. And this is kind of no greater situation than that right now, is how do you overcome these little things that are thrown at you, and we got to keep figuring them out.
How have the guys adapted to classes? We are now strictly online. And for you coaches, how is it monitoring how these guys are doing?
It's good. A lot of communication. We broke our team up in small groups. So every morning I check in on my group. Donnie checks in on his group. Adam will check in and so forth. And different groups, different just everybody's in a different situation academically. Some guys are, close to graduating, and other guys got a couple more credits. So everything's switching online, communicating. These guys got a lot of free time. So if they're not picking up their phone, maybe they're outside running, not playing video games.
Okay. Have you joined Fortnite yet yourself?
I'm close to breaking down. No, I don't think I will ever join Fortnite. I was just joking. Actually, he just got off the phone with Camacho, and he told me that he's so bored after doing all his work, working out and reading, that he's actually started playing video games. So I was like, well, I got to look into it too. But I don't think that'll ever happen.
We'd like to see you on there someday.
Nah, I'd rather watch old wrestling matches. I've watched a ton of matches this last week, some really good matches.
Okay. What about the schedule? Is that have you guys been in a little bit of limbo about trying to finalize the schedule here?
We're still working on that, getting dates, but yeah, I think it's business as usual as far as the season on starting dates and things like that. I think that's the one thing we can do is try to plan for that. And if you got to adjust and adapt, that's what we got to do. But yeah, right now we're working hard to try to get a team or two here in Raleigh. That would be a big duel. And then we'll have some good road trips. Should have Cornell at home this year, which could be a big duel for us. And then working on another big team. So we'll see how it all plays out. But again, I know we'll have a very competitive schedule with the ACC where it's at and hitting some good tournaments. We should have a pretty balanced, competitive schedule.
Pat, thanks again for joining us. Great news this week. NC State swept the ACC Awards, only the 4th time in league history. Yourself, Coach of the Year, congratulations. Hope to catch up with you on Zoom again. Maybe we'll get some better internet connection next time. You're freezing in and out here. So, life's a little rough. Life is a little rough there up in your castle.
I think we can use the P card if we need to this week to get a little better connection for you.
Okay. My connection's fine. It's yours I'm worried about. You haven't moved for about 3 minutes here. So.
I got full bar going on over here, buddy.
Pat, thanks for joining us. Keep the guys straight. And we look forward to hearing you again really soon.
All right. Later.
All right. Here with Nick Gwiazdowski. Nick, definitely a different week for yourself. Where are you at right now? What are you up to?
I'm at home on my couch being very busy. Got a lot going on here at my headquarters.
Because I booked you for all these interviews?
Yeah, I've been never even heard of this website called Zoom, and I've been on it 4 times. Okay. A couple of meetings with USA Wrestling to kind of stay up on what's the newest news, and that's about it. So,
obviously, so this week they said the Olympics going to be postponed. What was your first thought, or what did you think when the news came out?
It was probably the right decision. There's a lot of unknowns right now in terms of when things will be back open for training and competition and qualification. There's unknowns in that aspect. There's unknowns in the health of people. So all those things definitely go into, their decision. It's important. Obviously, I was a little disappointed. I was looking forward to competing this upcoming weekend at the Olympic trials and earning a spot on the Olympic team. But it's all right if it gets delayed a couple months, more time to prepare, and I'll be ready when the time comes.
You were up in Ottawa, USA Wrestling. You guys had one of the last athletic events. Did you have any reservations about going up and competing in the qualifiers back on March 15th?
No. When we left on I don't know, maybe Tuesday the 7th or 8th or something like that. And everything was a go. Everything was good. No word. It really wasn't in the U.S. yet. And then literally snap your fingers and, NCAs are getting delayed and no fans and canceled. And you're like, well, we're going to have this event. And all the countries were already there. We came in from New York. We drove up from New York to Ottawa. And yeah, there was some rumblings, not about it being canceled. Everything was like, we're doing it. We're all here. Let's do it. Go. Let's do it. So everything else was getting canceled. So yeah, we thought about it, but everyone wanted to compete and everyone was proud to compete. So it was good. Was it any different of a tournament for you? No, it was in a like a hotel ballroom kind of deal, like a convention center, but it was not a lot of fans. They limited the amount of fans that could be in there because of COVID-19, but no, it was pretty normal. It ran pretty fast. There was only 6 Olympic weights, so it moved fast.
How was it to bring back gold? First time competing in a little while. What did you think about your performance that weekend?
Yeah, it was good. I only wrestled 2 matches. I had 2 matches and 2 forfeits, but it was good to compete and put a singlet on and, go through the whole process. Everything felt good. I felt tuned up, ready to wrestle. And then it was, targeted to be kind of a warm-up for the upcoming Olympic trials.
And I guess, what about the Olympic trials? As USA Wrestling said, when you guys are going to compete now, obviously it's an Olympic cycle, but what's the summer look like for you?
I got no clue. Good question. I don't know either. So it depends. It depends how long this is around for, how fast things change. All the athletes train in universities, so they're not going to be having, set competitions before universities are back open. Universities are a huge part of what we do in NC State's my home, and that's important. But yeah, you definitely need those to be open before there's a competition, and even the Olympic Training Center is closed. So
that's a good point. NC State's closed. That has affected you. The weight room's closed. The sports med's closed. The wrestling room's closed. How are you going to train? What's your thought process over here? I know it's brand new, but what are you going to be up to the next couple of weeks?
I'll be around my headquarters quite a bit. Adam Hall's got a weight room in his garage. I've been able to get over there, move some of those weights around. You kind of study some film. You think about what you want to do. Luckily, one of my neighbors is a decent wrestler, so I get together with him and we'll work out in the garage a little bit. So,
still going to stay at 125 kilos even with this time off?
This time off, I may get a little bigger. No, 125 is where I'm at.
Okay. Lastly, I'll get you out here on this. Right above your head, some great art in the Gwiazdowski household. How did that come about? How can fans get some of that?
When the day comes, I will share some of my pieces on social media. I have made a couple pieces of art in my time. I still kind of do here and there. Here's some other ones actually I'll share.
See, you got art everywhere. A little NC State art.
Yep. A couple different things I made. I make all my stuff in my house somewhere. But when the time comes, I'll share it.
Nick, thanks for catching us up. We're definitely going to check back in with you. Everybody's curious with the Olympic cycle. Hope everything goes well. Hope you can keep training.
Thanks. Good to hear from you, Brian.
The Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Mat Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to MatTalkOnline.com.